This is a really interesting one, Gary, and we've kind of talked a little bit about this sort of off air before about, I guess, changing perceptions of age. And given the modern context on this closing paragraph, overall, it was a fine show, though Presley seems to have lost some of the spark that turned his concerts of yesteryear into events. He worked hard, but underneath it all, one could see that age is taking its toll on the singer. A change in style seems to be the logical career move for him, but Presley seems intent on showing the world that a middle-aged man can rock and roll too. A famous country artist once said that you can grow old as a country singer, but not as a rock singer. Presley is trying to prove him wrong, but he's not succeeding. So you can grow old as a country singer, but not as a rock singer. And nearly 50 years later, many of the artists that were on the touring circuit in 1976, the Stones, Mike Love, Al Jardine, AC/DC, many of these bands have been touring in this recent European summer, have been on tour and doing some massive shows. It's just such a fascinating observation in the context of what we know now, nearly 50 years on.
I think it is fascinating, and it's interesting that he even, spends a paragraph talking about that. I don't think it would get much press today at all. We're just so used to it. I don't know if that, like middle-aged, like Elvis was 42. I don't know, 42 nowadays is nothing. I guess that's maybe down to part of it is we're a lot more keen on, health and vitality and maintaining good health, eating, etc., blah, blah. So 42 is nothing nowadays. So a guy like Mick Jagger's still out there. You could say, well, that speaks to his health. It speaks to his energy. It speaks to his lifestyle. I mean, I guess it was a lot of excess back in the day, but he's still around. So that's a good, positive thing. Interesting point that it was a point to be made back then, whereas now we don't even really talk about that. We might joke about how old Keith Richards is. So the rock and rollers nowadays, that's a thing. Maybe they hit their 70s at the right time where there was the science or the medication or the health or the diet that could keep you going. But the fact that Kalina, it's notable in 76 to say, wow, he's getting up there. You can't do this. Totally contrast to today, where I don't even know if anybody mentions that. You just keep going until you keel over. So that is a very fascinating, and that's like a sociological sort of an interesting cultural point to make in 76 that just doesn't really fly today.